And then as I became a principal, you really get to see the need, that sort of the deep need that kids have across the district. And I've always been at schools that needed to be flipped or turned, F and low performing schools. And so when you see that, you see a variety of people who have really struggles with generational poverty, struggles with just getting up and out of bed in the morning. So many of my kids would come to school and they're the one that had to get themselves up in the morning because mom wasn't even getting up. Some of the schools I've been to, families still had some fight in them. Like they'd come in and they might fight and argue with you because they still felt like while they weren't successful as a family unit and nobody in their family had been successful, they didn't have jobs, they didn't have educations, they sort of felt like they were still fighting for something. And then I've been in schools where it's been so depressed that you didn't even get that. They had sort of been in that mode and now they had just given up. And so kids have to take over. I've had kids before where we've gotten big boxes of detergent that would come in little packages, and we've given them those and said, you're going to have to, even though you're 6 years old, you're going to have to learn how to wash your clothes out because nobody at home is going to do that for you. I've given alarm clocks and said, we've got to start teaching some of these kids how to get up because nobody's getting them up in the morning. And that's something that, when you tell that at a cocktail party, people can't relate to that. But when you're a child who's being raised without a parent, you have to figure out how to do it on your own. And the sooner you figure that out, the more successful you're going to be. And that's tough. I feel like there's certain skills that our kids just aren't being taught. How to give a handshake, how to say thank you, how to say I'm sorry when I've bumped into you. Because if it's their friend or their mom that bumps into them, they're okay with it. But if somebody else does, we're going to make a big federal case out of it. And so being proactive in teaching those skills, and I think that's what Elevate comes in and connects. They've got that personal connection with kids, that 24/7 availability to kids, and then to be able to realize we've got some topics, some big, broad topics where we need kids to really front load them and preload them with the skills that they're just not getting at home. Well, Elevate is really providing on a small scale what I'd like to see across the campus. And so being able to build that capacity within students and then have the students go out and be able to advocate to the middle school and elementary school kids is what we'd like to see happen. We really don't, other than the lessons that we're teaching once a week, if I've got teachers doing that, we have to almost constantly go in and make sure they're teaching what we've asked them to do. We roll out the lessons, and so on any given Monday, they should all be teaching the same lesson. I don't see that happening. So if I teach that in second period on Monday mornings, I don't hear that language being used throughout the day. I don't hear that language when they're talking to kids. That's not thoughtful. That's not excellent, committed, honorable. Those are the traits that we're trying to do, and we connected those to tech, T-E-C-H. I don't hear that a part of the culture here yet. But within the Elevate classrooms, what they're talking about is who they are. That's who those instructors are at a very core level. And so that's happening all the way across the board. And that's what we need to have on the tech campus. We need everybody to buy into what we're doing and make it a part of who they are. So we're always preloading and front-loading kids with the skills we want them to do. We're always rewarding them and rewarding kids for things they ought to be doing anyway. That's been a tough sell here at Tech, to give out a tech tender to a kid who gets to class on time. The pushback has been, why give something to somebody that ought to be doing it anyway? And I'll push back to the teachers and say, I give a perfect attendance luncheon. Well, I expect you to come to work anyway, so why should I have to reward you? But boy, it sure feels good. One of the things that we've done in another project here, and Elevate does it as well, is we've really worked hard to give positive reinforcement sort of across the board. So some things you earn and some things you just get. You show up, you just get the tech tender, you just get the prize. But even that going out into the community and doing something for somebody else, it just fills your bucket. And for some of my kids, they just are sort of broken. Their hope's been broken, and that's a tough thing to fill. See, here we go. So, it's a different place for kids that come in.
But, just constantly giving them reinforcement just fills their bucket up, makes them feel like they're worthwhile.